YouTube, what it is. So, December 8th, the fourth matchup between Manny Pacquiao and Juan Manuel Marquez will finally conclude, or so we think. This is obviously a fight we saw coming. The Bradley rematch with Pacquiao financially didn't make sense. I understand that. I wouldn't pay for that fight. I picked Pacquiao winning. I had him winning the fight clearly. I don't know anybody that with any brains that would actually say Bradley won that fight unless they're hating on Pacquiao or they love Timothy Bradley. But most boxing fans and most boxing experts that saw that fight had Pacquiao winning. And as far as I'm concerned, I know how to judge fights pretty well and had that clearly for Pacquiao. So it's almost like they just threw that under the rug. Technically, it's a loss for Pacquiao, but here we are 1 year later with a Marquez fight for the fourth time. These two guys have given us three incredible fights, three controversial fights, and it's at a point now, man, where more so for the sake of Pacquiao, the Mayweather fight is still looming around. I'll get to that in a minute. And with this is genuinely, unless Pacquiao were to lose and Floyd now takes the fight, which I think would be totally ridiculous. Juan Manuel Marquez, in a sense, has nothing to lose, man. He has nothing to lose and everything to gain because of the fact that even to this day, there's many people who believe, maybe not so much the first fight, but they believe he won the second and undoubtedly the third fight. So, in history, regardless of what happens, Marquez is always going to be that guy that was Pacquiao's kryptonite. And I think Marquez is, and maybe for Pacquiao too, when you're in the ring with somebody a second, a third, and now a fourth time, you pick up on these fighters' tendencies. But you also have to add in the fact that, Juan Manuel Marquez is like 39 years old. Manny Pacquiao's a little older as well. So the mechanics are going to start to simmer down. And I think in this fight, it's really the one fighter taking advantage or exploiting the other fighters' maybe lack of what they used to have. And, you're going to find that out quick. Because the thing about this fight, they don't waste any time. I mean, when every single Pacquiao-Marquez fight I've ever seen, each three right from the bell. Not fireworks right from the beginning, but you can sense, like, these guys, they're ready to go to war. They're feeling each other out very quick, and then it's on from there. So I don't think this is going to be any different, man. I think both fighters have a lot to prove. Even Pacquiao, who has technically 2 wins over Marquez, he has a lot to prove as well, because, I mean, like I said, there's a lot of people who don't think that he won at least the last 2 fights. So Pacquiao is also in a position where a loss, a legitimate loss, would probably eliminate a potential Mayweather fight. And funny enough, both Marquez and Pacquiao were on First Take with Stephen A. Smith and the ever-popular Skip Bayless. And both these guys have been for the last couple of years, and it's entertainment and it's funny, but Skip Bayless has been calling Floyd a chicken for like 3-4 years. Stephen A. Smith's been backing Floyd, but it was pretty interesting that, like, during the promotion, or I guess for that fight with Marquez and Pacquiao for the fourth time, the Mayweather came in, and it makes sense. And Marquez even came out and said, I think Mayweather would beat him, along with Stephen A. Smith as well. But what was pretty interesting, not that segment, but the segment, I believe it was the next day, Stephen A. Smith goes further into detail talking about the quote-unquote conversation that Manny Pacquiao and Floyd Mayweather had over the phone about the $40 million and you know, this, that, and the third. So then when Pacquiao proceeds to tell Stephen A. Smith, according to what he himself said, that Floyd Mayweather was, I guess in a sense, asking Pacquiao, what if I lose? And I guess maybe that was a curveball for Stephen A. Smith, but I heard about this from different sources. But, you know, you have to take it with a grain of salt, you know, because if you don't hear it from the horse's mouth, it's really tough to hold it as, you know, the gospel. But, you know, it really seems as if at this point right now, man, that Pacquiao wants this fight. Not to say that Floyd Mayweather doesn't, he's scared of Pacquiao or anything of that nature, but then you throw the whole 50 Cent equation in it, which to me, I've mentioned this before, but, you know, maybe not so much today, but I'm a big wrestling fan, okay? And to me, man, this whole 50 Cent, Pacquiao, and Mayweather little triangle seems too much like a WWE storyline, man. And I know some people have mentioned this, but it's just very odd to me that he would be associating himself with Manny Pacquiao after he himself badmouthed Pacquiao. But with 50, let me from a hip hop standpoint, you know, which obviously I'm very familiar with, 50 Cent is one of the most you know, take it for what it is, man, but he is one brilliant dude. The guy, I would say even more so than Mayweather, has a business mind. You know, I mean, his track record proves it. You know, Floyd is wealthy, you know, from boxing, but when you talk about a guy who has made investments and has flourished with them, you can't front on 50, okay? And now the whole thing with 50 going on 105.1 on the Breakfast Club show, it's kind of like hinting that he was trying to set up the Mayweather-Pacquiao fight, and Floyd was kind of not feeling it. And again, I don't know if this is a storyline that Floyd and 50 sat together and said, yo, man, if we just set this whole thing up to kind of bring in a storyline for the fight. Because look, man, realistically, a lot of us are tired of it. You know, a lot of us are tired of it. If you notice, man, I haven't talked shit about a Mayweather-Pacquiao fight for quite a long time. Because there's no ends to a means. So, with 50 Cent in there, man, as crazy as it sounds, the guy has a track record of making shit happen. Now, obviously, this is the boxing world. And, you know, the boxing world's its own criminal syndicate. But 50 Cent, again, man, the guy has dealt with big wigs, with big money. And, I mean, it seems as if he's trying to make this happen. You know, and we've seen pictures with him and Manny Pacquiao. And Manny Pacquiao's been asked about the whole relationship between him and 50. And, you know, he's kind of quiet about it, saying, you know, we're just talking. But, look, man, I think 50, in a sense, he's trying to make money. You know what I'm saying? I don't blame him for trying to make the fight if he monetarily can make it happen. So, and he also hinted at the fact that, you know, when Floyd was talking that 40 million, he was saying, like, well, where do you think this money's coming from? You know, so it's interesting, man. I guess it throws another curveball into the whole mix of things, but the unfortunate, sad part of things is that we could be dealt another dud, and this shit just goes down the toilet. Because as it stands, yo, we're at this point in boxing where you still got Mayweather Pacquiao here, who people, I believe, still want to see the fight. But, you know, there's these new guys, man, that they're just creeping up to the point where, like, this fight's not going to really mean anything. Like, I'll give you an example, man. As far as a fight, an actual fight that people are like, as a boxing fan, okay, at this point of both Pacquiao's and Mayweather's careers, I would much rather pay for a Cotto versus Alvarez fight. Because I know what I'm going to get in that fight. I know exactly what I'm going to get in that fight. With Mayweather and Pacquiao, man, it's like, don't get me wrong, I'll still watch it, I still pay for it, but am I as amped as I was maybe 3 years ago? Hell no. Hell no. You know, but it's because, you know, you can't, you got to strike while the iron's hot, as the old saying goes. So we have to get past Marquez Pacquiao first, edition 4. And I will say this, Manny Pacquiao's made mention of this, Freddie Roach has made mention of this. Pacquiao's got to win by knockout. He's got to win by TKO or by knockout, because I have a feeling that if it is a close fight, man, they're going to give it to Marquez. Just because. Just because. You know, the argument to that could be, you know, the big wigs in Vegas still want to make Mayweather Pacquiao. But, you know, we went through this last year. We still don't have a fight. So they really got to, you know, I think Pacquiao and even Marquez in the same fashion, they're going to go for a knockout. So in turns, this fight may be a lot more interesting than the previous 3 fights, because I think there's going to be much more risk from both fighters in this fight than the previous 3, even though the previous 3 showed all signs of both fighters not taking or taking all the risks they could. But I think in order for Pacquiao to kind of get, quote unquote, his groove back, he's got to take Marquez out and seal the deal. Same goes for Marquez. He's got to knock out Manny Pacquiao. That's it. I mean, that's should be the key to the fight. Even though in most cases boxers shouldn't think about going for the knockout, but guess what, man? It's do or die. More so for Pacquiao, but imagine a knockout win for Marquez, what that does to his career, man, his legacy. Crazy. And to be honest, you know who gets fucked? Mayweather, man. And I've been telling this to people, and this is no hate towards Mayweather, but again, this is why I always say strike while the iron's hot, because if it's Marquez that knocks out Manny Pacquiao, Floyd missed out on the biggest payday of his life. And this is coming from a guy who can apparently beat Pacquiao easy. You know? And I'm not saying Floyd's scared of him. Okay? I've never said that. But it would be very unfortunate. Very unfortunate. But I'd be happy for Marquez. But I'll give a prediction as the fight gets closer. This is just a preview video. And the saga between Mayweather, Pacquiao, 50 Cent, maybe Tony Yayo, maybe Lloyd Banks. Well, I think G-Unit may have. But any case, man, let me know what you think about this potential fight and what you think about the whole 50 and Manny Pacquiao, I guess, joining of hands. I'll be back soon, and I'll be giving more predictions on the upcoming Cotto versus Austin Trout fight. And we have Nonito Donaire fighting next month. Brandon Rios versus Alvarado. Crazy fight. So I'll be back soon, and we'll talk more about those fights, man.